Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution episode. Where are we at? 343, 344, somewhere in there. It's Tuesday, and I'm going to talk more national. So I apologize if you're sick and tired of hearing about the national. I'm sorry. I'll probably have a couple more. Ken, I'm glad you're with me because I actually just finished watching your video, and it uh, gave me some good thoughts. And actually, our thoughts on the national basically mirror each other, very close to what I thought, what you said in your video, with your thoughts on the national, very similar to my thoughts. Indeed, I am tired of hearing about the national. What's up, Zach? Good morning. So today I want to talk. I want to show off um, some of the other cards that I picked up last week. I also want to talk about pricing because I've been like a staunch uh, advocate of pricing your cards at card shows, but my opinion has slightly changed. So I'll tell you why my thoughts on pricing cards at the National has changed. Only slightly, because I have some examples of what really peeved me, but then some other examples that I was cool with unpriced cards. Herman is with us. Good morning. Um, so I was just watching Ken's video. Check him out, Beans Ball Card Blog. Um, so Ken, your thoughts on the first of all, Atlantic City 2022. I'm with you. I probably will not attend Atlantic City next year. A lot can change in the next 12 months, but my thought process is very similar to Ken's. All of the money, and I take this for I being in Rosemont in Chicago, it's literally 2-hour drive for me. So I kind of take that locality for granted when I say come to the National. The National's awesome because for me it's a quick drive. I stay at a cheap hotel. I know the area, so I can find a cheap hotel and save because like Ken, I'm looking to save every buck I can. Look at me saving pennies on PWEs. So I'm trying to save as every penny I can, so I can use that toward buying some goodies and buying some cards. Because yes, all of the money I saved, I could have stayed at the hotel across the street, or where all the action was happening after the show. But that's a lot of money, and staying 5 nights I was there, 4 nights, 5 nights. All of that money bought me, I used that money to buy some nice pre-war cards. And I was just driving. That was just the hotel savings. If you add a flight and, a rental car or taxis, Ubers, I mean, that adds up. So, I really take for granted the extra pricing for the National because from my point of view from last week, everything was, I can drive down. I don't have to worry about Ubers or rental cars. And I guess if you are at, spending that money on the hotel next door, you don't have to worry about that kind of thing, but you still have to get to and from the hotel to wherever you're going and the airport and all that. So totally with you. And I probably will not go to Atlantic City next year just because of, I just, you know, the price alone. And I never went to a national until 2019. 2 years ago was my first national because I just couldn't, I wasn't doing the 1 million Cubs project. I was just a casual collector, prior to 2017, before the project started. So, just walking in the national for 20 bucks. And that's just, general admission, parking was fit, and I'm looking at this from Rosemont, $15 for parking, $20 just to get in the door. Plus, if I was just driving down for a day, the gas money, you're at like 50 bucks just to walk in the door, and you can buy some nice cards. And Ken brought up some great points in his video about, you can, really find some good cards on eBay and use that $50 walking in the door to nice cards. So, I get the National's not for everybody, even if it is local. If you're just a casual collector and you're local to last week Chicago or next year Atlantic City, it's still expensive just to walk in the door. Zach says $20 is half my monthly hobby budget. Good morning, Mark. Zach says the National doesn't intrigue me at my level of collecting, and for the casual collector, it's just not feasible for a casual collector, because you can go to the local card shop, you can go to smaller hotel shows, you can go to eBay, and you can whet your appetite. Whet your appetite, is that actually a word, a saying? You can get all of that. So that's my thoughts on the National. I'm glad, Kim, that you posted that video, and I was able to watch that just this morning. So I'll save show and tell for last, but I want to talk about pricing. And I've always been an advocate on pricing your darn cards at card shows, because there's nothing more that especially when they're in random boxes. And I don't want to pull a stack of cards and then the dealer tells me, oh, that's $150 when I thought I had $40 worth of cards. Because that happened to somebody that I was actually in. And actually the one table, there was actually a couple tables that annoyed me the most. And the one that annoyed me the most, actually, somebody, we were messaging back and forth. Michael, we missed each other last week. And he brought up a table, and I knew exactly which table he was talking about. Fortunately, I didn't waste any time at that table. So I'm going to get into that. I hate not pricing your cards, but there's an exception, which I'll get into. But there was one particular table at the National, and it had just boxes and boxes and boxes of inserts and newer cards, and they were all sorted so nice, which I don't like. I like to dig. And I posted a poll, and it seems split 50-50 on whether you like just mad chaos in your bargain boxes, or if you want them sorted by team, or a couple people wanted them by set, but mostly it was team / player, I guess. So it's basically 50-50. And somebody commented, like, if it wasn't sorted, I walked away. And that's why I like the conversation, because everybody's different. And I'm the exact opposite. When I was at the National, any table that was sorted, I typically walked away, because I just wanted to dig. And because you dig through, and it's just like if you're sorting cards, if you find an old box in your closet, and it's like, I haven't seen this in a year, or I haven't seen this in 2 years, and all of a sudden you find some goodies. And it's like, oh, and it's almost like a treasure hunt. And I like the treasure hunt aspect of the bargain boxes. But there was one table that and this was, I think, Sunday. This was toward the end when I was just kind of milling about. And I thought, well, I'm gonna look through here. Maybe there's some Cubs inserts, and a lot of it was newer stuff, more modern, the last couple of years. So likely I have it, because it was from the main sets. And so before I even started looking, I asked the dealer. I said, what are the prices on these? None of them were sleeved. No top loaders, no protection in monster boxes. Yes, they were nicely sorted. Oh, they all vary. I mean, thousands and thousands and thousands. This was a huge booth of all these cards. And so my buddy on Twitter said he went through and he pulled out a whole bunch, and he thought he had $40 or $50 worth of cards. Guess what? They sting him with $150, and he was taken aback. And I think he only bought a few things from them, if memory serves. But I probably offended him with my reaction, because I think I put my hands in the air or rolled my eyes, because I was very annoyed by that fact. But you just walk away, and I walked away and went to another booth. Go back to the chat. Ken says, Mark says we have a twice yearly show in Boston with 400 dealers. That's a big show. One of the things I wanted to go to the National to look for is T36 cards. My buddy Anton is working on the set and found none at the National. Wow. I saw that Anson finished off his T207 set. Still need 3 Red Sox for my team set. Ken says, if I was at the National, I would want things sorted, but that's how I collect. I'm looking for specific things and don't want to spend hours at one table. A local show that's different. And that's perfect. And I think, half the collecting population is with you, and half the collecting population loves the thrill of the hunt. I did see that as well. It seems like he did well. I prefer things yes, I also like at least a penny sleeve. If it's and I've stated this many times before. Dime box, I'm cool if it's unprotected. Quarter box, I think a penny sleeve. We're getting to that point where penny sleeves pricing is coming up, and people are starting to throw just kind of the quarter boxes aren't like the quarter boxes of 2019. I noticed that there weren't too many quarter boxes that were like that I have. Brag about my quarter boxes, which you can see Saturday, August 28th at the Madison Card Show, Sheraton Hotel, and possibly in 2 weeks in Rockford, Illinois. I may be doing that show again in a couple of weeks. But you're starting to see the quarter boxes. We're getting watered down. They're not being protected by penny sleeves. I've even seen dollar boxes. There was a dollar box booth that I saw that was unprotected. Dollar cards. And I've always said dollar cards should be in top loaders, and I get that top loaders are now expensive. You can still find them for 10. If you search, you can get them for 10 cents a piece. But and just if it's a bargain box, dollar box, used top loaders are perfectly acceptable. So that's my thought on protection. If there's no time limit, I don't mind sorting through cards. Therapeutic. If I'm on a timer, then I want things sorted. Totally get it. Working with my LCS on doing a trade night. That's awesome. My co-promoter, Johnny, wants to have a trade night at our, after one of our shows. But really, our card show is very similar to what a trade night. And I told him, I'm like, isn't our show basically trade night? Like, people bring in their cards, and it's kind of like a trade night in itself. But at LCS, I totally get having a trade night. That would be awesome. I would love to have a trade night at a local card shop. Our local card shop will never do that. There's just no room, and it's kind of a disaster. I'll just end it like that. But yeah, we probably won't have one at our LCS unless a new one opens up. It's about the fact that the National is so massive. I have to look at so much and also want to meet people, don't want to be hunkered down. Yeah, that's a good point. It's really hard to meet up for me because for the most part, a lot of people that I was trying to meet up with, it's like, meet me at the dollar boxes at the singles club, because that's where I will be. And that's, I had great conversation with Uncle Rich, great conversation with Mike Summer. There was a kid next to me, a younger guy, maybe in his early 20s. And I looked over and he had like a 1970 Topps Ron Santo for $1. Heck yeah. And I'm like, oh man, you beat me to the Santo. And he's like, oh, I found 2. Do you want one? Oh yeah. So I put it in my stack. And he helped me on a couple other things. And we follow each other on Twitter. Didn't even know it. Adam was there. My buddy Sean from Kansas City, who came and set up at our show a couple months ago, he came in. So met so many people just because I was spending so much time at the dollar boxes. There's totally a timer at the National, because it's like beat the clock. It's like you look down your watch or your phone, it's 4:00. Oh no, I only have 2 more hours. And yeah, it's a race against time. It's a beat the clock every day. And I joked to my buddy Dave. We split a room Friday morning. I'm just like, I'm beat. I'm exhausted. I'm tired. And I said, man, it's only Friday. And then all of a sudden, Sunday, I'm like, dude, it's already Sunday. It like time goes so slow at the beginning, which is weird, but then by the end, it's like I can't believe it's over. A card show basically is a trade night. Yeah, so a trade night at our show like after hours would not really work because people have already done deals at the show. So but an LCS trade night would be perfect. Had a Pokemon one last month that had a good turnout. That's awesome. So that's my thought. Oh, so that's actually only half my thought. So when it comes to like bargain, like if cards are in like monster boxes, they should at least be somewhat priced. Like I hate they're all random. I'll walk away. If it's $1 box, even a $5 box or a $10 box, at least I know I want that, I want to know. So if I find some good cards, I want to know, is this actually worth setting out in my pile? Is this $10 card actually worth my spending $10 on it? Or could I find this online for 8? Or, you get it. And I don't want to be surprised. I don't want to pull a stack of cards and get when I think it's $50 and it's 3 times that amount. But if it's under a glass case, and I used to hate asking for prices, but I was just and I had and this actually led to great conversation because I was and granted, I was not looking at Giannis, LeBron, Kobe, Jordan. I was not looking at those guys. I was looking at stuff that Ken likes. I was looking at the pre-war. I was looking at old oddball and Mark and the conversations that I had, would be right up Ken's alley, right up Mark's alley. There was a gentleman with a bunch of globe printing cards from 1952, minor league. They're pretty rare. I've been looking for Visalia Cubs, which are super hard to come by. And so I saw he had a bunch and I asked, do you have any Visalia Cubs? And then all of a sudden, he told me the story behind globe printing cards. He's a big collector, says Visalia is the hardest to find. There were, I think, 500 made, told me the whole story behind the globe cards. It was really cool. So when it's that type of stuff, I have no problem saying, hey, what's and I did. There was a couple, I can't remember what exactly there was in his table, but there was a couple like pre-war cards that I had no issue. What's your price on that? Just to find out. There was another booth, and so this was one of my favorites, and I think Mark would love these. They're the Bazooka bubblegum boxes, and these were the full boxes. They were flattened. And he had, he was looking for Cubs. There was a Ken Hubs, which I really wanted. The color pops on the Bazooka, just beautiful boxes, would make a great display piece. It was not slabbed, and I wanted, I preferably I would like an SGC slab. So he threw a price out, and I thought I was right there in price, and I think we could have got a deal done. So as he was telling me the story behind these boxes, and I look over, and in his showcase there was a PSA slab of one of these boxes, and right in the center is Glenn Hobby, Chicago Cubs, and right next to Glenn Hobby is Mickey Mantle. And I just jokingly said, it's too bad Glenn Hobby's with Mickey Mantle. And so he laughed and he goes, that's a unicorn. That's the only one known, I think, only known full box of that particular Mickey Mantle. And so I said, well, I'm just curious, what's the price? And this was totally just to, because when he said Mickey Mantle unicorn, I knew it was going to be whoop. And he said $75,000. But he said, I there are a couple, collectors that have shown interest. And I said I would let it walk out the door at the best offer over 50,000 this week. So I'm not sure. I should have went back on Sunday to check it out. But I went to SGC. I talked to a couple guys from SGC, which just talking to their staff made me more of a believer in SGC. And I'm what I'm going to submit to get graded and authenticated is pre-war. So SGC is the go-to. So I mean, it's always been, if I'm going to submit anything, it's going to be through SGC, but they made me more of a fan based on my conversation with the people involved with the process. So I asked them, I showed them a picture because I was curious, would they slab one of these panel boxes? The answer was probably not, maybe send us an email. So I did not buy that piece, but I would like to. I would like to get it in a SGC slab just to have it encased, basically. So I had no issues asking for prices. If it, what's the price on this? Sometimes it was, a good price. It was right in my wheelhouse. Sometimes it wasn't. So I had no issue on some of those items that I showed an interest in or was just curious. So I slightly altered my opinion on pricing at a card show. Rare items, I'm okay if it's not priced. But if it's in a monster box, if it's in, the display box where I'm stacking, basically it's when I'm stacking cards, I don't want to get surprised at the end. Ken says agreed, in a box together, either need individually priced or all cards X. Exactly. I won't ask for prices unless I really, have an interest. I don't like stuff without prices, but it keeps me from impulse buys. That's a great point. SGC told me more than 2 years ago at the Dallas show that they were working on a registry. As of now, still no registry. Hayden, good morning. Thanks for stopping by the chat. So that was my thoughts on pricing. And wow, it just kind of like the national, time has flown by. Only a few minutes left. So speaking of pre-war and something that I will be submitting to SGC, this is what both Saturday and Sunday, I walked out the door. As I was about to leave, I didn't walk out the door before making some purchases. This was my Saturday afternoon buy. Just before I left, I picked up this T205 Joe Tinker, got a nice deal on it. And it does have a crease, it's beat up, but I'm just going to get it slabbed because I want all my pre-war stuff slabbed. So I'm going to be submitting. Is Bo becoming Team Card Saver? No, I'm not. This was actually how I bought this card. So it just hasn't been replaced. So I'm going to submit this. I have about 30, maybe 35 now because I picked up some raw pre-war this week. Actually just a couple. So this will be part of my submission to SGC. T205 Joe Tinker. And then kind of the exact opposite, but SGC. On Sunday, I mentioned like in the Breakers Pavilion area, there was tables there this year, which there were not 2 years ago. There was a box of like not discounted, but low priced SGC slabs. Mark says if I slabbed all my pre-war, I'd have no money for cards. So I started looking through the boxes. Ken, that's a great question. Are you submitting alone or using a group? I can guide you to a group submitter that I believe gets a better price. Yes. So I was initially going to submit on my own, but actually these are all basketball. Got into the basketball market. So this group that I bought a bunch of slabs from Rye Guy Sports. They do SGC, PSA, and BGS. They had a ton of SGC slabs that were in like a discounted box. So they have some good pricing. At my price point, it would go down from $30 if you submit on your own to $26 per card. So I may, so I'm looking at submitting through them because, that's 100 and, if I do just use a round number, if I do 30 cards, that's a savings of over $100 by using a group submitter. So, they do ask for card savers, so I'm going to have to buy some card savers. So, so I probably will go with them. They were awesome. I talked to them for quite a while. That was the cool part is not just meeting people from social media, but also talking with dealers. And I learned so much, especially at the pre-war tables. The vintage guys, Steve Sabo, the unopened wax guy. A friend of mine is looking for an unopened pack of 1955 Bowman, and Steve had a pack, and Justin showed him, something on eBay that was actually PSA slabbed, unopened. And Steve took a looked closely, and he goes, if I were you, I wouldn't buy that. It looks tampered with because there was a bad corner, and it just didn't look right to him. So just fascinating stories. And as I dive deeper into the pre-war stuff and the vintage stuff, I love learning about, the history of sports cards and some of these oddball sets, and just the pre-war stuff. So I was digging through. I needed some help. I didn't, I thought these were priced at $15 per slab, and I'm like, and they had a deal where I think if you bought 4, you got 1 free. So that gets the price down even further. So I'm like, but is it a good deal? So I was in a text string with my buddy, a couple of buddies that are more into basketball, and this was a speculation play, purely speculation. And I said, hey, there's a bunch of like $15 slabs, guys like Hunter, guys like Matisse Thybulle, and they're mostly 9s. Some were 8.5, some were 9.5s. And so they were giving me advice on, okay, this probably a good buy. So then I went back to the booth. I actually skipped out of the second half of Hobby Hotline on the main stage, and went into dive deeper. This is another Matisse Thybulle 9. So I ended up buying a whole bunch. This is Carson Edwards. Just kind of take a flyer on him. This is a 10. Cameron Johnson. I'm surprised Cameron Johnson's prices aren't higher. So a Cameron Johnson 9, another Cameron Johnson 9, another Matisse Thybulle 9. I think I ended up getting these at like $12 per slab. Diego is with us. This is an RJ Barrett, but these are all Prism rookies. This is an 8. Kyle Kuzma 9, and again, these were like $12 per slab. So I think you can't beat that. Another 9 for Kuzma, rookie Prism. This is a Grant Williams silver Prism, numbered to 9. Another Kyle Kuzma 9, so I picked up 3. Darius Baisley 9. A Hashimura Prism 9. And it's almost like, I guess $12 for Prism rookies of these raw would not be worth it. But Keldon, there was only one Keldon Johnson. It's an 8.5, but thought that was okay. Took a flyer on Jalen McDaniels. It's a silver. I wouldn't have bought a base, but I figure a silver was worth it. There's more. This is another Grant Williams silver. Another Thybulle. This is a 9.5. I think I did buy most of these were basketball. Another Hunter. This one the label's messed up, so that sucks. Here's a Thybulle 9.5. Got a lot of Thybulles. What's up, Jeremy? Good morning. Kendrick Nunn 9.5. Lonzo Ball rated rookie optic, and I think he's coming to Chicago. Sounds like if he hasn't already, he's coming to the Bulls. Jordan Poole 9.5. Couple more. Kevin, is it Herder? This is a red, white, and blue Prism. So at $12 a slab, I think I did okay. This is another Jalen McDaniels silver. If one of these guys pops out, and I know SGC is not I don't even know how to pronounce his name. Ntilikina. And I know they're SGC, so they're not going to be PSA pricing. Tybal. Okay. RJ Barrett. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce a lot of these names. There he is, Tybal. So yeah, like 5 or 6 Tybals. So yeah, stack of slabs. So a good deal. Oh, and there was one baseball. Chrome Bellinger rookie, 8.5. So that was about the only. There was only like 3 baseball. It was all basketball because the guy joked because I was wearing my Cardometer. He joked, "You're probably not going to find any Cubs in there." But I was just shopping for basketball. So that was my stuff. There's plenty more. I'll probably show and tell some more tomorrow morning. That is the only Sixers fan. That's the only reason I know it. Awesome. What's up, DR? Just joined 5 minutes ago. How was the WNBA cards presence at the show? WNBA, I did not see any, but I wasn't looking like most basketball tables. If there was basketball, I really quick glance and move on because I wasn't shopping for basketball. Of course, I just showed you, a stack of 30 slabs or whatever, but I was not looking for basketball, so I wasn't, I didn't really have a good feel. I think it was on Hobby Hotline, they were talking about the presence of F1 and how there was a ton of F1. I don't even know what an F1 card would look like. So a lot of the showcases with high-end stuff, I didn't even look at. Showcases with higher-end stuff, I was really looking for specific cards of Chris Bryant and Javi Baez, which surprisingly there wasn't many. So I really didn't any basketball or any other sport other than baseball in a showcase. I wasn't really looking. Bargain boxes and stuff, I wasn't looking through basketball unless it was unsorted. So I really am not a good person to ask on that. I personally didn't see many, but I wasn't really scanning those tables. I still have the F1 Sapphire box. You just restarted the itch for me to open it. Apparently F1 was pretty hot. I wasn't in that realm, so I was in my own little world. Did you think the Chicago sports market, Cubs, Sox, Bulls were overpriced or fair market? I think it was on point. I wouldn't say it was overpriced. I wouldn't say it was overpriced. I think it was fair. You probably could have got, like many things, you probably could have found better deals online, on whatever platform, but that the same can be said for pretty much anything. A lot of the bargains came in bargain boxes or discount boxes. So I would say, yeah, Ken says, I doubt regional premiums are much of a thing at bigger shows anymore because of eBay. Yeah, there wasn't much. You did have some boxes where, hey, these are and again, I was looking in bargain boxes, I was looking in baseball showcases, but in the bargain boxes, a lot of dealers had, here's our Chicago box. So there were some regional ties just because you're going to have some people walking in, on a Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Chicago sports fans, because that's where it's at. But the prices were fair. I didn't notice, the Cubs just did their major sell-off on Friday. So obviously there wasn't a Cubs premium. I didn't see really much of a premium on White Sox, even though they're doing well. The Bulls and Bears and Blackhawks, they're kind of all, average. So you don't have that like 2016 World Series or, the Blackhawks run from a decade ago. You didn't have, you don't have that from the major sports teams in Chicago. So there wasn't a premium because of, the success. What do you think breakdown of local versus national attendees? That's a really good question. Just from, I think there was a lot, it's split. I think there were a lot of people that flew in, just based on social media from people that I know through social media. Many of those people flew in. So I think there was a maybe even more traveling outside of the, you're always going to get people that are going to drop in for a day because they're close by. They're within an hour. They live in the Chicago metro area. But there was a good mix. There was a lot of people that flew in. Blackhawks Cup players are retiring left and right. I've got to run. Thanks for the great questions. Thanks for the chat. I'll be doing more national talk tomorrow. I'm sorry. Just so much going on. I'm already 5 minutes over. I've got to get to work. But I'll show off some more stuff. I'll show off tomorrow some of the vintage pickups that I bought from the bargain boxes, the vintage bargain boxes. So I'll show that off tomorrow morning, same time, 6:45 Central. Appreciate it. Have a great Tuesday. We'll talk tomorrow.